Hello, welcome to our first review for this year's March Martial Arts Madness Month. Today, we're starting off with a great film, Jet Li's Fearless, which came out 2006. It's a martial arts action film. I consider this a drama, right? This movie is an hour and 21 minutes, directed by Ronny Yu. Yes, the famous Hong Kong director Ronny Yu, who directed such films as Bride with White Hair and Jason versus Freddy. Yeah, what a what a weird director. He's known for directing like legendary kung fu films, and then like B movie, not B movie, but like, you know, Hollywood horror like schlock. Or yeah, so the film stars Jet Li as Ho Yun Jiao, Sun Li as Moon, Nakamura Shido II as Ano Tanaka, Colin Chou as Yun Jiao's father, who Colin Chou was in the Matrix movies. You have Nathan Jones as Hercules O'Brien, who was the big guy from Mad Max Fury Road, and you have Dong Yong as Nong Jin's son, who was Jet Li's best friend in the movie. So the movie takes place in 1910 at the peak of this martial artist's career, right? Who is Jet Li's character, Ho Yun Jiao, right? And there's probably going to be spoilers for this film, because this film is a drama film. Okay, so it's like hard to review drama films without spoiling them, right? I forgot to mention Yun Lo Ping, the famous action choreographer, did the action scenes for this movie, and you can tell right away. Yeah, so the movie takes place in 1910 China, during a bad time in China's history, when basically Westerners, I guess, were walking all over China, right? And China at this period of time was nicknamed the sick man of the East, right? So you have this our main character of the film, who is the founder of the Jing Wu Sports Federation. It gets offered a challenge by this shady group of Westerners and their Japanese compatriot, who've chosen four champions of the best fighter of each of these countries, which they don't say which countries, but I think one's from the UK, I think one's from France, one might have been American, and the last one is a Japanese fighter called Ano Tanaka, right? And the beginning of the film shows our main character, Ho Yun Jiao, fighting the first three fighters one by one. One's like a guy who specializes in spears, right? One guy's a boxer, and the third guy is like a swordsman with a saber, right? And that guy I totally recognized from an episode of Deadliest Warriors, right? Which that was one of the best shows on Spike TV, where it was basically it was basically like a versus match show, where they would take like experts from of historical weapons and historical figures, and basically had would test all the different weapons, right, from a weapon master, and then put all the data into a simulation, and then you would have this fight at the end of the episode where they would show for one example, there was an episode where there was like a samurai versus a samurai versus like a cowboy or something, and then they would fight. at the end, and whoever won, it was that person, I guess, won the simulation, right? So if you haven't seen Deadliest Warriors, check that show out. But yeah, so like the movie starts off with Ho Yun Jiao fighting 3 fights, right? And then as he's about to fight the final fight against the Japanese samurai slash karate master, the movie goes back to, like, basically tells his story and how he was the son of this famous martial artist at this famous wushu school, right? And how, like, you know, how he wasn't allowed to practice wushu because, you know, he had asthma as a kid. And after seeing his father lose a fight where he totally would have won if he hadn't, like, you know, stopped himself from delivering, like, a killing blow, right? What was cool about these fights take place in basically in, like, Central Square, and they have, like, a stage for, like, fighters to fight, right? Where right before the fights they have to sign a death waiver. Right, so it's pretty cool, right? But yeah, after seeing his dad lose a fight with against this wushu master, which he totally would have won if he hadn't hold back the killing blow, right? He swears that he will never lose a fight ever again, which he lost the fight to the son of the guy who beat his dad. Years go by. He becomes the leader of his family's wushu school, and he becomes the basically becomes the best fighter of his city, uncontested. That's the word I was looking for. Uncontested winner of, like, the uncontested champion of the city, right? Except for there's one guy left he hasn't beaten, right? Chin. Which there's a scene where, like, he gets, like, you know, he's celebrating with his students, which a lot of his students are freeloaders, right? Who only go to join his school just to get free wine and free food. Which, you know, Jet Li's character gets at his best friend's restaurant, right? Who's played by Yong, and the character's name is Nong Jinsun. So yeah, like, this guy gets told, like, hey, my godfather would totally goes to Jet Li's character. This young guy tells him, my godfather would beat your ass, right? So what ends up happening is that Chin, right? What ends up happening is Chin breaks the leg of one of Jet Li's students, right? And Jet Li goes to Chin's birthday party that's being held at his friend's restaurant, who he owes a shitload of money to, and starts a fight with Chin, where there's this epic sword duel that they're having with the sabers, right? With the Chinese sabers, right? And ends up killing Chin, and that leaves with Chin's godson killing Jet Li's family, right? While Jet Li was drinking and partying with his students, right? And there's an epic scene where, like, Jet Li goes to the funeral, Chin's funeral, which is just being held by Chin's godson, his wife, Chin's widow, and their daughter, right? Which earlier on there was more than one kid with them, but I guess that was just a friend of the daughter, I guess. And the godson's like, I'm the only one who killed your family. Nobody's responsible. And he kills himself with a dagger, and Jet Li's there with a sword, right? And is really pissed off that he was denied his vengeance. So there's like a scene where he looks at the widow and kid, and for a second you're like, holy fuck, is he going to kill the widow and the kid? Oh my god, he fought about it, right? He fought about it, only for him to like run away and become a homeless person, only for him to be found on some beach by this village, by these farmers, right? And they nurse him back to health. He falls in love with a blind girl, and falls in love with a blind girl, and basically learns to live again, right? So after some years where he starts to get some gray in his hair, which I don't think he had gray hair in the beginning of the movie, right? But whatever. He decides to go back home to start up the family fighting school, right? Wushu school, which becomes the new Jingwu Federation, right? And then the movie obviously catches up to the finale of the film where he fights the samurai karate dude, which, unlike the other fighters who wanted to kill Jet Li's character, who were pretty bad sportsmen, right? The samurai dude is cool, which is fucking funny as fuck. Cause like in the beginning of the movie, they think that the Japanese dude's gonna be the big bad, the final boss of the movie. Only the final boss of the movie to really be the fucking asshole businessmen at the end of, like, you know, who are sponsoring the competition, right? So I'm not going to spoil the end of the movie, but it's one of those things where you probably do not look up the guy, who the guy was, before you watch the movie, because you'll get spoiled, right? So I'm just going to go with my likes and dislikes for the movie. The music was good, the cinematography was good, the action scenes by Yun Wo-ping were great. If anything, there was probably too many action scenes in the movie, right? Because it's the thing where you have such high energy, high intensity fights, that there were so many high intensity fights that it's like you kind of like in the first 30 minutes of the movie, I think there's 6 or 7 fight scenes. Okay, so you kind of get a little bit bored of the action scenes at a certain point. Not really. The fight scenes are good. It's just that there's just so many, man. It's like, holy fuck. And especially since a lot of these fights are, fights just for competition. There's only I would say 2 or 3 fights in the movie where it's actually life and death, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed the film. Some people, like my friend, Not Only Hollywood, is not gonna like the fact that they made all the Westerners the evil white man, which that's a thing that happens in a lot of Asian films, not just China, but you'll even see that shit in South Korean movies, and I think, I don't know if I've seen any Japanese films where white people were the bad guys, but definitely you see it in Chinese films, and you definitely see it in South Korean films. If there's any Japanese movies where white people are the bad guys, let me know. Oh, but yeah. So I don't know. Some people might not like that. In the context of the movie, you just gotta give it. In the context of the movie, it's okay. And then they did show one white guy in the movie, which is Nathan Jones, as a good, he was a good sportsman up until a certain, well, there was a certain point in the movie where he was, during the fight, where he wasn't. But yeah, I don't know. When it got to the point where like Jet Li's character saved his life, then he was like, okay, you're a good guy, your victory. Oh my god. So yeah, I enjoyed the film. It's one of those movies where I kind of want to hit myself in the head for not watching it all the way the first time around when I watched this movie, because like the first time I watched this movie, I didn't finish it. I got bored like an hour in, because there is like a slow point in the movie, right, when he joins the village, right? But overall, it's a great film. You know what? 8 out of 10. So yeah, for our next March Martial Arts Madness film is going to be on Friday. And if you guys have any suggestions on what movies you would like me to review on this year's March Martial Arts Madness month, leave the suggestions in the comment section. Peace. And it's not just going to be kung fu movies or wuxia films. We are going to review films by, like, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme, maybe some Steven Seagal, though I'm not really a Seagal guy, but we're definitely going to review some Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, and maybe even some Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris films. So if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section. Peace.